This is a very highly requested video, so let's talk about the things elegant women never do at restaurants. Dining out is truly an all-encompassing experience, a place where you get to curb your hunger whilst being served in often glamorous, elegant settings. The place where you can celebrate anniversaries, even get proposed to, or indulge in the perfect date night with your better half or with your friends, and a place where you can improve your palate. However, with all things, there is a protocol that should be followed in the form of etiquette. If you get it wrong, you could risk embarrassing yourself and looking amateur, and this is not what we want, is it? In today's video, we are going to explore 10 things elegant women never do at restaurants, and I mean never. Whether you're indulging in a gastronomic experience or having your weekly treat at your local pizzeria, avoid doing these things at all costs. My lovely elegant ladies, welcome back to another video. My name is Vivienne. I am the founder of Woman of Elegance, which is a platform that I have created to help women globally become the most elegant, sophisticated and classy women that they can be. Like I said, this video comes highly requested, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. Point number 1. Elegant women never complain about the price. If I'm to be honest, if it's one thing I absolutely detest in my whole social existence, is when guests complain about the price of food at a restaurant. Even before the age of the internet, it would have been appropriate to call a restaurant and ask about the average price of food per person. Now, in the information age, you have no reason to complain about the food at a restaurant, and this is because most dining institutions have a menu online that you can download to give you exact prices. This will enable you to see whether it fits into your budget or not. If it doesn't fit into your budget, it is absolutely okay to decline an invitation, because it will be incredibly awkward to turn up to a restaurant not having enough money. Check that an unexpected direct debit hasn't inadvertently cleared your account. Ensure that you're comfortable paying for the bill, and this includes service charge. Please do not attend a classy, fine dining establishment not expecting to pay a pretty penny. Point number 2. Elegant women never refuse to tip. Now let's talk briefly about tipping, because this is a practice that is common in many parts of the world. In the UK, tipping is not a prerequisite, however, it is recommended. In the United States and in many other parts of the world, tipping is the norm. As a classy woman who is intentional in all that she does, it is essential you observe and respect the customs of the country you are in. So this means that it is bad manners not to pay the service charge just because you don't want to. Include the price of the service charge when ascertaining the cost of your portion of the bill to give you an idea of how much you'll be expected to pay at the end. However, if you genuinely felt that the service or the food was subpar, please relay this information to the manager and they will most likely adjust the bill accordingly. We'll go into this in a lot more depth later. Point number 3. Elegant women never bring outside food and wine. In short, this just shows that you lack refinement and you're uncouth. It is insulting to the chefs and it really is a nuisance. There is only one exception to this rule. If the restaurant stipulates that you can bring your own bottle, and they usually will charge you a corkage fee for this. This usually is an option when a restaurant does not have a license to sell alcohol. However, if the restaurant serves alcohol, never do this. If you bring your own food, even if it's just a small snack, you can risk embarrassing yourself, and this really absolves you of any class. Management may even ask you to leave as well. Elegant women simply would not subject themselves to such embarrassments. Point number 4. Elegant women never treat waiters and other staff like subordinates. I have consistently spoken about elegance really being reflected in the way that you behave towards others and how you communicate with people. No matter how well presented you are aesthetically, this will be negated if you treat others with a lack of respect. If you talk to wait staff and others such as cleaners or those working in the cloakroom with a lack of respect, but speak to the sommelier, for example, with high regard, then this just shows that you're prejudiced. Every single employee is there to ensure you have an enjoyable experience. Working in a restaurant is by no means easy, so please do not be arrogant towards the staff. Elegant ladies treat everyone with respect and dignity, irrespective of their position. Point number 5. Elegant women never interrogate the waiting staff. Now, picture this scenario. A customer asks the waiter a question about a particular item on the menu, and the waiter goes on to explain about it in some detail. The customer now starts to ask about the origin of the ingredient, whether it contains gluten, what the approximate calorie count is, whether the item is organic, how much sugar it contains, whether it contains alcohol, what time the food was prepared, whether the salmon was caught in the Norwegian fjords, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Ladies, give us a break. Of course, some of the questions are absolutely relevant. If you're intolerant to gluten or if you abstain from alcohol, then these are things that you must know. However, if you ask excessive and irrelevant questions, then you will just start being a pest, and nobody wants to deal with that. Well, with that being said, this brings me nicely onto the next point. Point number 6. Elegant women do not fail to communicate dietary restrictions carefully and early. How would an elegant lady deal with such a situation? Let's say you have some intolerances or you're allergic to certain foods. How would you deal with that situation? Well, most fine dining establishments ask you to state if you have any dietary requirements or intolerances beforehand. This is your opportunity to explain what they are so that the chefs can accommodate these requests. If you do this on the day, you risk being served ice cubes and nothing else. If this is a casual establishment, then you need to be discerning and look at the menu beforehand and even call to ask and make sure. Restaurants run on a precise schedule, and you risk disrupting this and drawing unwanted attention to yourself if you start to interrogate the waiting staff about your intolerances and what the food consists of, and it just becomes annoying. Point number 7. Elegant women do not do the servers' jobs for them. No, I don't mean cleaning up for them or taking the plates into the kitchen for them. I mean things like helping the waiter place the napkin on your lap, or taking the plate out of his hands prematurely, or even pulling out the chair for yourself when he's trying to do this. You may think you're being kind and caring by doing this, but this actually causes some embarrassment to the staff. You may say to yourself, oh, this is a little bit pedantic, isn't it? The thing is, you have to understand is that the waiters are there to do this job and they've been trained to do so. And if you start doing it for them, it makes them look incompetent. So kudos to you for being kind, but avoid doing this. They are there to serve you and make the experience as seamless and elegant as possible. Point number 8. Elegant women do not display bill antics. So you've finished your meal and you've engaged in some fulfilling conversation, and the evening is drawing to a close. The bill arrives and it's placed in the hands of your host. Assuming this is a group dinner and not a two-party date, what happens now? I am going to make it absolutely clear about the things you should never do when it comes to paying the bill. In the first point, I mentioned the importance of knowing the approximate total spend of the restaurant before going. However, there are certain things you should refrain from doing when it comes to paying your bill. The first point is that don't insist on paying the exact share when splitting your bill. If you're with a group of friends, the most seamless and fuss-free solution to adopt is to split the bill evenly between you. I know it's tempting to pick out the things that you purchased and pay for those, but this is not elegant. It's disorderly, it's fussy, and it takes too much time. Can you imagine sitting at the table with your calculators out and trying to add up the cost of the sea bass and the pea soup and the profiteroles? It's just a little bit sloppy. However, there is one exception to this. If the member of the party purchased 100 grams of beluga caviar or a whole lobster, for example, or some item that's substantially varies in price to the other items on the menu, then this is only right that the person pays for this. However, if you've all agreed to partake in indulging in the caviar, and this can be a tacit understanding, you may not have agreed to share it, but if you've equally enjoyed the caviar, for example, then you must contribute towards the bill. You can't have some of the caviar and not pay for it because you didn't order it. That's not how it works. Secondly, let's talk briefly about who should pay for a meal on a date. I am all for chivalry, so I do think that the gentleman should pick up the bill on the date, but this is definitely a point of contention. For example, in Scandinavian countries, women and men tend to go 50-50. They are very big on equality there. However, in some Asian and African cultures, the men tend to pay. I am generalizing here, but there is a pattern and there is a general consensus that this is the case in most countries. On the other hand, the exception to the rule here is if it's a business lunch or dinner. You should always pick up the bill when you're taking a client to a restaurant or any entertainment establishment, always. Point number 9, elegant women are never impolite when they are airing their dislikes. For most of us, there have been times when we've eaten at a restaurant and the food was subpar, or a dish that you had was quite disgusting. If you are genuinely unhappy with the service or the food, then please discreetly tell the waiter, who is likely to inform the manager and offer some kind of compensation for falling short. Ladies, never demand a discount or threaten to leave a bad review because this is in bad taste. In the UK, as I've reiterated previously, service charge is in fact optional. It is good practice to pay this. However, if the food or the service was diabolical, then you can choose not to pay it. But please explain why you don't want to pay. Usually, if you've complained about something, then management will ordinarily remove this from the bill. Whatever you choose to do, always exercise discretion, tact, and class. Never ever be rude or make a huge fuss. Point number 10. Elegant women never ask for a toothpick and remove food from their teeth at the table. This is an absolute no. Don't ever do this. If at the end of a meal you find some annoying bits of food in between your teeth, then go to the restroom and remove it. Make sure you bring some dental floss with you or an interdental brush, but not a toothpick. Toothpicks are quite unrefined and they're not really effective in actual fact. Don't ever ask for a toothpick, especially at a fine dining establishment. So next time you go to a restaurant, please remember these tips and put them into practice. Dining etiquette is such an easy way to show how elegant you are, but it's also a surefire way to highlight a lack of refinement. Ladies, thank you so much for watching my video, and until next time, bye for now.